Okay, this is method 9, full overlay Venetian plaster, and what we've done is just done a few layers of a high polish plaster, and sandwiched in there is a full overlay stencil, done with the light metallic. So this is a really nice contemporary look without getting a really high contrast in your stencil. It's a good effect. Okay, this is about a 4-layer finish, and you do need to be somewhat proficient with the trowel, but it's a good finish for someone starting out just learning how to trowel. Okay, for this finish, I'm going to use Venetian Plaster by Faux Effects, and I'm also going to use Aquacolor Dark Brown and Aquacolor Bronze by Faux Effects. And then you're just going to need a hawk, a trowel, a full overlay stencil, and a stencil brush. Okay, for the first step of this method, what we're going to do is lay our base coat of Venetian, which is made by Faux Effects. It's a polishing plaster. And what I'm going to use to tint that is just some Aquacolor Dark Brown. And what I'm doing is 32 ounces of Venetian to 2.5 tablespoons of dark brown. And I've got it mixed up here. This is my color. So we're going to lay in our base coat of plaster, or our DNA coat. I'm just going to use a hawk and a trowel. And I'm right-handed, so I use the right-hand side of my trowel. Don't make a big mess with that, or you're not going to get a nice smooth finish, which we're going to need for this technique. So I'll show you how we're going to trowel it on. This represents my wall. So since I'm right-handed, I'm going to start in the left, and I'm going to work to the right. So when I'm troweling this coat on, I just want full coverage, and I'm going to put it on thicker than any of the other coats. It's kind of build the DNA up. So any of the trowel movement or ridging I create in this layer is going to read through the other layers, which are going to get lighter in color. So it's going to create this kind of nice movement. And why I bring that up is this layer is going to dictate the movement. So you want to make sure you're nice and random and creating this kind of organic movement. Okay, so I got the first coat troweled out, and with the Venetian on my first coat, I'm getting about 100 square feet a gallon. Okay, so my first coat of Venetian is dry, and what I'm going to do is we're going to apply another tighter skimmed coat of the same mixture of plaster as the first layer. But first I need to just give it a light sand with 220 grit paper. Okay, so once again I have the same material mixed up, the Venetian, as we did on the first coat. And what I'm going to do is start kind of backfilling in the first coat and making it a little smoother. So I can put it on a little thicker where I need to maybe at a holiday or mist an area. But for the most part I'm going to start really kind of skimming it back off, really raising the blade of my trowel. Okay, so I've got 100% coverage. I've kind of backfilled in those really deep spots, and right now it's just kind of like gray on gray. It's not very interesting, so we're going to do some more things to really enhance the texture and the movement. And so we'll let that dry and setting. And troweling and how deep you troweled your first DNA coat. On this second coat of Venetian, I'm going to get about 300 to 350 square feet a gallon. All right, for the next step on our Venetian, what we're going to do is apply a full overlay stencil. This is the stencil I'm using right here. It's from Melanie Royal's Royal Design Studio. And to put my color on, I'm going to use an oversized stencil brush just to make it go a little faster. And then I've just got a paint lid where I'm mixing my colors together. I can load my brush a lot faster. The colors I'm using are Aquacolor Dark Brown and Aquacolor Bronze. I'm going to do like 50-50 on my plate and just kind of mix it together. And that's how we're going to apply our color. Okay, so to start my full overlay stencil, what I've done is I've taken a level and just put a piece of tape perfectly level on my wall. And now I have a reference to make sure my stencil starts out straight. So it's a full overlay, so I can line it up wherever I want and just line the top of my stencil up off that tape. And now I'm ready to start. What I can also do is these stencils have these registration marks, so you know how to properly line them up. I'm just going to slide pieces of tape under them so that I can get color on those, so I know where to stick my next stencil, but it doesn't actually get on my finish. Okay, so I got my brush loaded. I also have some paper towels so I can offload some of that color so it's not super heavy. And I'm just going to start applying it to my stencil. I'm not on this, I want it to kind of vary in depth, so I'm not going for like just a solid, even color. So I kind of bounce around my stencil. I'm just whisking lightly because I want this to be like kind of an inconsistent image coming in and out. And be sure you hit your registration marks, just so you know where to line the next guy up. All right. And once you get that color where you want it, you can go ahead and remove this stencil. And now I can go ahead and move on to the next. Okay, now that I got my full overlay stencil laid in, next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to take a 220 grit sandpaper and just give it a light sand over the whole surface just to distress it back a little further. Okay, for the final step in this finish, we're going to go back to our old world Venetian plaster, and this time we're going to trowel coat, real tight skim coat, but we're going to use the material untinted. So I'll get that set up. Okay, so I got my hawk trowel, my material untinted, and I'm going to start in the upper left hand corner and just go ahead and skim this thing real tight. Okay, for my skim coat of Venetiano, I got about 400 square feet a gallon. You can see my image is just kind of like distressed, knocked back. It's real subtle in and out, nice effect.